The story begins when one of the employees on the Chen family headquarters was fired. He didn't understand why the director was doing this to him. After all, he had been working hard and working overtime for 3 months in a row. Just recently the director promised a promotion, and now all of a sudden he fires him. What's the big deal? Because he was fired without notice, he was entitled to compensation, but the director told him that he would not be paid anything because he signed the document himself. He remembered that not long ago the director had given him a document to sign and it turned out to be a fake document. The main character was furious and wanted to teach him a lesson, but he had no clear evidence. At this point the principal smirked and said, "How irritable you are," and we were hit hard. The one flew away a few meters. See? This is the power of Reiki, which can only be used by the highest members of society like me. Suddenly he stood up and answered him, "One day I will be the head of the Long Chen family, the richest man in the country, no, in the whole world. When the time comes." He promised that he would come back and buy this company and he would fire him first. At this time an elevator came to their floor. All the employees immediately knew who it was and met her with high honor. A charming girl came out of the elevator and said, "You can fire him right now." Her name was young Miss Chen, Chen Mo. The employee was discussing her. She was very beautiful and was the daughter of the richest person in the Long Chen family. The recently fired employee didn't understand what was going on. Did she come here for him? Jian bowed to her and said, "Miss Chen, why didn't you warn me about your visit?" She walked up to him and replied, "Didn't you hear that? I told you to get out of here." He stood puzzled, "But why?" Miss Chen replied that he defamed the honor of the future son-in-law of the Chen family, who is her future fiancé. He walked up to the dismissed employee and said, "Lin Chu, our last breakup was a mistake. We can arrange a wedding whenever you want." Lin Chu asked her, "Does she still love him?" "No, but I want your body." After the wedding came the wedding night, but Lin Chu was in no mood, after being fired from his job a week ago, and a few days later he became the son-in-law of the Chen family. Besides, he hadn't seen Miss Chen for 3 whole years and then she shows up in his life again. He hoped she was joking when she said she wanted his body. At this time she walks into the room in her wedding dress. She was very beautiful. He walked over to Chen Mo and told her not to worry, he will love her and take care of her. She asked him to close his eyes as she had a surprise for him. He closed his eyes and hoped she would kiss him, but she told him to take this money and get out of here. Lin didn't understand what was going on here. Weren't they going to get married? She said it was all a show and tell him to stay away from her, and as compensation, she offered him 100,000 for a month's stay. But he said he didn't need that and suggested she clarify something, because she came to be reunited with him. Suddenly she struck the strongest blow and told him not to pretend, because in this life she hates the men who cheat the most. He didn't understand what she was talking about. What kind of cheating were we talking about? She never answered his question and he went home. On the way he thought that it was not for nothing, but why did she leave him the first time? After all, he hadn't done anything. When he went to his apartment, he saw some girl sitting on the sofa. He stood there in a stupor of incomprehension. She said to him, "Oh my darling, my love, I finally found you." He asked her who she was and how did she get here. She had been his mistress in a previous life and now she had come to repay her debt. But what debt? What are you talking about? Has she lost her mind? What mistress from a previous life? She came up to him and said, "Isn't today our wedding? Of course we're going to have a wedding night." He was frightened by this situation and wanted to run out of his apartment, but she teleported to the door and closed it with her hand and told him not to hurry. And did he really forget that in a previous life they often practiced couples cultivation? Lin Chu was greatly frightened, but suddenly she kissed him and everything in the room glowed bright blue. At that moment he felt something strange inside him. Have I already died? His soul disconnected from his body, and went somewhere in the sky. He thought he was in heaven. Suddenly he felt that his soul was about to explode, and so it did, but the pieces of his soul connected to other souls and they started to record all their memories. Among them were doctors, lawyers, artists, and many other soul pieces recording all their memories. At this time Lin Chu was lying unconscious and his mistress smiled sweetly. Ling Chu's soul shards had recorded the memory of 9,999 people and returned to his soul form. He could believe it, that he now had access to the memory of a huge number of people and now he knew about everything. A month later, Lin Chu's funeral was taking place, friends and acquaintances were saying goodbye to him. But at that moment, a purple ray hit Li's body and Chun-Li was reborn. Some people at the funeral thought it was a zombie, but the head of the Chen family asked them to be quiet. He walked up to him and said, "Young son-in-law, I was convinced to the end that you would wake up sooner or later." Chun-Li decided that they all must not find out that his soul had left his body and walked through the memories of several thousand people. He told them that the first thing he wanted to do was sleep. The head of the Chen family asked the maid to escort Chun-Li to his room. He thought, so does he really have the legendary resurrection power? I never thought that heaven would be so generous. Miss Chen, is my wedding just another bargain for you? As he sat at the table he realized that thanks to other people's memories he could see the world from a different perspective and now he could instantly get information about anything and know what the person really thought of him. At this time the servants were standing outside the door ready to serve him. One of them brought him food, to replenish his strength. He ate very quickly, for he was very hungry. The maid thought, doesn't the mistress have such bad taste, why did she marry someone like him? Chun-Li analyzed her and he understood what she was thinking and answered her, you know, I also wonder why Chen Imo decided to marry me. She stood puzzled, how did he know what she was thinking? Unexpectedly, a venerable old man arrived to visit them. The head of the family told him that his son-in-law was sitting at the table. The maid poured Chun-Li wine and asked him to dye his ardor, but he thought, how can he stop his hunger? Had she tried not eating for a month? Chun-Li said to her, okay, then feed me. The servant said, I obey, sir. Suddenly the old man walked up to Chun-Li and grabbed his hand. He felt his terrifying aura. He asked the old man, what was the matter? The old man replied apologizing for his abruptness. He then approached the head of the family asking if Chun-Li had any abnormalities on the day of the wedding. He replied that after the wedding, Chun-Li was in a coma for a month. Chun-Li wondered what they were whispering about and decided to overhear their conversation. The old man was talking about unchanging energy. Someone had instilled a lot of spiritual energy into his body, destroying his perfect compatibility with Hugin Dan. The head of the family asked him, how could this be fixed? And how much would it affect their initial plan? He replied that he had the potential to one day become a great cultivator, but with his aura destroying the meridians in his body, he wouldn't even be able to master the simplest cultivation techniques, let alone advanced techniques. So they only forced Chen Imo to marry me because of their ulterior motives. Is that what she meant when she said she wanted my body? Suddenly, the head of the family exclaimed angrily, aren't you ashamed of eating my food, and threw that table where Chun-Li was sitting. He grabbed Chun-Li by the scruff of his neck and called him an impudent cheater and threatened to kill him. But Chun-Li grabbed his arm as the souls of murderers, boxers, and villains began to manifest in his aura. He replied to him, didn't you originally make Chen Imo trick me to get himself the Hugin Dan ability? So you knew about your potential. How did you manage to become such a brat? I don't know why, but I lost my potential on my wedding night, maybe because he stopped being a boy. Bullshit. Where did you dig up such a stipulation that you have to be a boy to cultivate? Besides, we are all aware that Chen Imo dumped you on your wedding night. Our family doesn't need scum like you. Chun-Li was about to leave, but he wanted to talk to Chen Imo afterwards, but no one would agree to do so. Suddenly he activated his hypnosis skill and told the servant to call Chen Imo here. He wanted to clarify something before he left. Was it only because of his hidden potential that they asked Chen Imo to marry him? Of course. And now you're no better than scum. Is this Hugin Dan so important to you, even if you have to sacrifice your daughter's happiness? Yes, because I've been trying to master the basic techniques for years, but I haven't mastered even the basic part in my entire life, so I've been experimenting with pills for years, but that doesn't yield any results either. They were on a long journey, and noticed Chun-Li's aura. but his Hugin Dan was weak and didn't give much effect alone, but its effect was simply devastating when paired cultivation. If Chen Imo hadn't done that stupid thing, you both would have become stronger over your wedding night. Paired cultivation. I think I'm missing something. Now that he's become useless to them, his people will get rid of him. Chun-Li said he is still Ching Mo's husband, and why doesn't he think about her feelings before he gets killed? Shut your mouth, finding another husband for her won't be difficult. But before he left, Chun-Lu wanted to ask one last question, if he hadn't set him up with Cheng Imo. What are you saying? I just remember that Chen Imo said that you were partying with other women in a hotel. Chun-Li didn't understand, what other women, who could set him up so sneakily. He got angry, and asked for strength from the strongest boxer in the world, against a shadow. But because of the weakness of his body, these memories of strong men are useless. At this moment, Chen Imo walked into the room, and ordered him to stop. He knew that she would not refuse him, but she told him, back off. He was shocked by the situation. The head of the family was proud of his daughter. He ordered the guards to get rid of Chun-Li. But Cheng Imo said, even if he's a scum, he's still my husband, why should we get rid of him? Our family doesn't need such useless people, I'll find you a new husband soon. Do you want to waste a lot of time trying to find me a partner for couples cultivation? I'd rather keep him, because it's no different than sheltering a dog. Sometimes men are a lot like dogs, at least dogs don't lie, do they? The head of the family told her, do what you want. Chen Imo and Chun-Li went to her room. He said to him, thanks to you asking to call me, I was able to speak to my father, so you can stay here. Chun-Li, you are a very conniving person. What are you talking about? I just wanted to avoid a misunderstanding about our wedding. She got mad at him. He got scared and asked why she activated her spiritual power. Cheng Imo came up to him and told him not to pretend. She knew he was a sly one. Do you have something to say? Don't come any closer. Tell me, on your wedding night, what really happened to you? If you don't want to tell me, just tilt your head down. Calm down, I'll tell you everything, but at this point my memories won't help me get out of this situation. But he decided to tell a little about what happened to him that day. When I came home I met a strange white-haired girl there. She said I was her lover from a past life. She poured a large amount of aura into him and he passed out. A white-haired girl? I'm not surprised a scum like you had lovers. But I don't know who she is or why she did it. Anyway, why do you keep calling me scum? What have I done to you? She told him that 3 years ago, at the hotel, she saw him partying with 4 escorts, and what has he done over the years besides partying with girls? Maybe learn a new language? What are you talking about? I didn't just cheat on you, my foot wasn't even in the hotel. You're a liar. I saw it with my own eyes. At this point a servant comes into the laundry room with a big pile of dirty clothes and tells him that from this day forward, he will be in charge of all the housekeeping. If he is not happy with anything, he can piss off. Okay, I'll do it, thanks to my memories, I'll crush them with my housekeeping skills. Damn, how hard is it to wash clothes? All of a sudden a whole truckload of dirty clothes came up to him and unloaded all the clothes on him. There was a servant standing next to him and she said he was doing it pretty fast, so she decided to bring in more clothes. After he got his clothes cut he went to the kitchen. The servant told him that he was cutting too finely. After a while Chun-Li was furious. Why are there so many dirty clothes in this house? Walking down the hallway he overheard a family conversation in which the head of the family said, "What have you been thinking about lately? Our casino in Las Vegas is down 10 million because of counterfeit money. You personally recommended the manager at the casino." Cheng Imo admitted her mistake and said she would figure it out on her own, since he wouldn't just leave those who had infringed on their family. The head of the family asked, "You? What can you do? Do you think 10 million will fall from the sky for you?" Chun-Li stood outside the door and thought, counterfeit bills. Loading the memory of a counterfeit expert. He threw away his dirty clothes and exclaimed, "Why am I wasting my time here? After all, there are plenty of ways to make money cash through counterfeit money. He won't be able to achieve anything with such a weak body, but he has a temporary solution to use the Chen family for his dirty business. A little later he went to one of the banned websites and ordered a money printing machine there. He decided to create himself an alternative ego, in order to keep his true identity a secret. I think it's time to use the knowledge of a legendary makeup artist, time to max out. After an hour, he came out with a completely different personality that was unrecognizable, and he went to pick up the money printing machine. Coming to the place, there was a bald man in a red jacket. Chun-Li told him that he had come to pick up his printing press. He replied to him that it was inside, you can look around. The printing press was in excellent condition. The man reminded him of the contract and demanded $5 million, but Chun-Li grinned at him and said he only took $100. He grabbed him by the scruff of his neck and said, "Are you kidding me? Why the hell did he come here if he doesn't have any money?" At that moment, Chun-Li took out a $100 bill and said it wasn't an ordinary bill, it was made by him personally. He took it in his hands and said, "It's unbelievable, how could you create such a high-quality bill? The fake bills you created leave a lot to be desired, and it wouldn't be the slightest bit difficult to distinguish them from the originals." "You're right, and what do you suggest?" 2 hours is all I need." "All right, let's see what you can do." Chun-Li had worked all night to improve the quality of the money. He had selected the right paper and ink, and in the morning he woke up the man and said it was ready. There were $5 million on the table. He couldn't believe it. How was it possible to print so much in one night? Besides, the bills were of the highest quality. What? They were no different from real money. "Master, may I ask your name?" "My friend, you can call me Master Wei." After a while, the underground organization got hold of the money printed by Chun-Li. They were dissatisfied with the new competitor because the quality of his money was indistinguishable. "Do you remember that Yin Chao?" "Yes, I remember. He went broke a long time ago after we crushed his business. But yesterday I witnessed him making a deal with a certain Master Wei. He's the originator of that money. What are you waiting for? Go and offer him a job, money is no problem." "I already tried, but he refused." "And why is that?" To work for you." "But combining work and personal life is problematic, but I'm willing to work with you on equal terms." They weren't satisfied with his terms and they tortured him. While he was analyzing the place where they brought him, from the turns he assumed that he was now on the outskirts of the city. "So you're the guy, right? Tell me your name." Combined with the soil analysis, I may be in an abandoned workshop. "Hey, I'm talking to you, what's your name?" "My name is Wei Ching Mo." "This is your work, isn't it? I hope you'll work for us." "I told you, I don't work for other people, I'm only willing to cooperate as equals." He grabbed Chun-Li by the shirts and said, "Does he realize the position he's in now? They can kill him right now and no one will know. But if they kill him, they will lose more than just a partner, they will lose the opportunity to realize their deepest dreams." "You're telling me a fairy tale?" At that moment, Chun-Li activated the speaker's memory. "One day, I want to make sure that one day there will be no more counterfeit banknotes in this world, and it will be because people all over the world will use counterfeit banknotes made personally by me. I have the technology and you have the equipment and connections. If we cooperate, I promise to produce 100 million counterfeit yuan every day." "Really? Can you really produce that much?" "Naturally. However, I'll demand 51% of the income, along with 10 million, you must give me real money to make the operation a success." "Are you crazy? How can it be called a partnership if in fact they will be working for him?" "We can make an agreement if you let us participate in the production process, how's that?" Both sides were in agreement and shook hands. However, the two of them had different plans. The bandits planned to acquire his skills and kill him, while Chun-Li wanted to get the 10 million from them and get rid of them. Next he went home. Ching Mo was sitting there. He was thinking how she could get the 10 million quickly. At that moment the same employee she fired for Chun-Li came up to her. He came up to her and offered to help her. "No thanks, I just recently fired you from headquarters, don't you hate me?" "Me? Hate you? No, it's a misunderstanding. The only reason I joined the Shin group is because of you. Although our Jin family isn't as rich as your Chen family, it's also famous and rich. 10 million is what I can easily give you. That is, until you divorced that bastard Chun-Li. After all, let's not forget what he did at the Dorset Hotel in Longhao. How dare he call me a bastard in front of me? And how does he know about the hotel? Could he have anything to do with it? A simpleton who thinks he owns the planet. I don't need your help. Suddenly Chun-Li threw a rag at him and told him to leave the house because he stinks. Maybe it will fall from the sky and end up right in front of us. The money will fall from the sky. Are you crazy? Suddenly a red suitcase flew into him. On Mr. Wei's orders, 10 million has been sent to Mrs. Cheng Yimou. Mr. Wei. Who is this? Why would he send me so much money? Mr. Wei said the 10 million was sent to win your trust. If you want to see him, go to room 1766 of the Dorset Hotel tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock and he'll be there. Why did this Mr. Wei specifically ask to meet in this room? I think he certainly had something to do with it. The next day, Chen Yimou arrived at the very hotel. She was wearing a beautiful blue dress and looked incredible. But Jean was following her. He was jealous of her, so he wanted to see what would happen. She went up to the 20th floor and came to the same room. She went in and saw Chun-Li cheating on her with some girls again. Chen Yimou was furious with him, but at that moment, the TV turned on, where Wei was the one who said it was a misunderstanding. But it was too late. She activated her aura power and ripped the girl's clothes. The guy who was lying on the bed said that he wasn't Chun-Li. Wei said, if not the South Korean transfiguration technique, Miss Chen Yimou, the person you encountered 3 years ago in this very hotel room was not Chun-Li, but an imposter. The person who orchestrated this situation intended to destroy her relationship with Chun-Li. She wondered if she really had treated Chun-Li fairly all these years. She didn't even know. So are you Mr. Wei? Why are you telling me this, and for what purpose did you send me the money? Chun-Li couldn't reveal his real identity, so he had to improvise. Because if it wasn't for Chun-Li I wouldn't be alive right now. Even though he doesn't know me, I thought that telling the truth was the best way to pay off my debts. Then, Mr. Wei, do you have any idea who framed Chun-Li 3 years ago? At that moment, Jean entered the room and said, I demand to see Mr. Wei. The culprit was none other than Mr. Jin Yingham, who entered at a rather unfortunate time. I don't care who you are, but listen to me carefully. Chen Yimou is my woman, and I will not stand by and let her sway Xiais for bribes. Your woman? You seem to have forgotten that she is now married. No, how could you forget? You were the one who caused their breakup in the first place. At this time, one of the escorts remembered Jean and told him why he hadn't contacted them in such a long time. But I don't know who you are. Don't be a joker, you were a VIP 3 years ago. Luckily, I hacked into the management system archives and found the people who were with him 3 years ago. Now he won't be able to lie. Mr. Wei, please give me your contact information so I can send you back 10 million. But that's not necessary, just treat your husband more kindly. The sun has set, it's time to become Mr. Wei again and meet my business partners. But at this moment, Chen Yimou came up to Chun-Li and said, Where are you going, dear? Just going to my bedroom in the warehouse. How pointless, from now on you'll be sleeping in the same room as me. The next day Lin Chu was sweeping the courtyard buildings. Suddenly he heard a phone call from the maid. He decided to eavesdrop on her conversation and activated the lip-reading expert. The maid said, Didn't I warn you to stay away from microloan organizations? Just tell my brother not to borrow anymore. I'll try to find 200,000 yuan by the deadline. Don't worry about me, I can manage. Lin Chu would never have thought that a maid could get into a situation like this. However, this is a great chance for him to show his good side. After a while he was in his lab doing experiments. He called one of the bandits there. Lin Chu told him to wire 200,000 yuan to his account. He said surprisingly, I see you're a real philanthropist. 2 days later, Lin Chu and his business partners met in a private restaurant. One of them said, Mr. Wei, you are really something. To produce 100 million fake money in such a short period of time, I just have no words. Thanks to you, Mr. Wei, we have gained tremendous experience through our close cooperation. Lin Chu thanked them, as he too was left in a good profit, getting 51%. Suddenly he felt the poison in his wine glass. He said to him, "Are you mocking me? Did you want to poison me with some kind of booze, one of the most popular methods of murder?" Did the bandits ask him what he was talking about? "Stop playing the peon, I know you're real sharks in the criminal world." He threw the glass with the poisoned wine on the carpet. At that moment the guards and the bandits' assistants prepared for the fight. They all surrounded him at the table. One of the ringleaders said, "In that case, we can get rid of you." Lin Chu jokingly replied to them, "Wouldn't they like to finish their meal? Wouldn't want all the food to go to waste." But they didn't appreciate his wit and told him, "You're pretty calm, do you have any idea what position you're in now? So this is the end for me." "Yes it is, and what are you going to do? There's nowhere to run to, all the exits are blocked." But Lin Chu had no intention of escaping, because he had foreseen such a scenario. The bandits were puzzled. Why, if he knew it would be like this, why did he come to them to surrender? Right, but not exactly, he didn't come here to surrender. Suddenly carbon dioxide started coming from the ventilation system, in large quantities. It was Lin Chu's planned trap. The day before this meeting, Lin Chu had arranged with the man in the red jacket. He had set up a carbon dioxide flow through the ventilation system so that Lin Chu could deal with them at any time, at the push of a button. Lin Chu was about to leave as the outcome was on his side. At the last moment one of the bandits threatened him. He said that their boss controls all of underground Tokyo. He got tired of listening to him talk and stepped on his face. The bandit asked him what he would do with the money. Would he take all 100 million for himself? He replied that he didn't need the dirty money. All the counterfeit bills Lin Chu had produced were not yet in circulation. He took a lighter in his hand and threw it at the money. The bandit was shocked by his action. How could he just take and burn 100 million yuan? Lin Chu said, "This is my first warning, know your place, trash." Next, he went home. The assistant asked him, "Isn't this the residence of the Chen family? Who are you, Mr. Wei?" He asked him not to ask unnecessary questions. He got out of the car and went home. Suddenly the maid grabbed his arm and asked him why he was so late today and what had he been doing. He stood in incomprehension. She said, "Okay, forget it, I have a favor to ask of you. I heard from Mistress that you and Mr. Wei are quite close friends. Do you know where he is now? I'd like to meet him in person." At this time, the assistant came back to him and shouted from the car, "Mr. Wei, you left your mask in the car. I'm not one to steal other people's things, so I wanted to give it back to you." Lin Chu stood in a stupor and didn't know what to say. The maid didn't understand what was going on. At that moment, she exclaimed, "Lin Chu, so you are Mr. Wei. Why did he call you Mr. Wei? He seems to have confused me with another person." The aide played along with him. He made a fool of himself and said, "Yes, I came here to meet Mr. Wei, and who would you be, kid?" Mrs. Chen Mo said that Mr. Wei had the same kind of mask you're holding now. Is it me, or are you trying to deceive us and pretend to be Mr. Wei to woo Mistress? I have to report this to Mistress. Lin Chu apologized to her and confessed he was Mr. Wei. The maid laughed at him and said how dare he put himself on the same level as Mr. Wei. Suddenly he said, "Didn't you want to thank Mr. Wei for helping close your brother's debts?" She stood there in a stupor. "How did you know that?" "I already cleared up this situation with Chen Mo." He took her hand and told her to follow him. They went to the trunk. There were bandits tied up. He told her they were involved in the casino case and the fake money. "I robbed them of 10 million and told them to send them to Chen Mo." She said she didn't trust him anyway, so she went to report everything to Mrs. Chen Mo. Suddenly he took her by the shoulder and said that he could not allow his second identity to be revealed. He asked assistant Yin Chao to take out her phone and take some pictures. "Okay, I'm on it." She didn't know what he was talking about. Suddenly he kissed her. She was shocked. That's when Yin took a picture. Lin Chu told her, he'll have to send it to Cheng Mo if she can't follow her tongue. She told him how dare he do that. He showed her the phone and said, "How dare I? didn't you just seduce me? Meanwhile in Cham Mo's room, she couldn't sleep because she was worried. She didn't know where Lin Chu was disappearing. Late at night he fell asleep next to the bed. She woke up and wondered where he was going last night. She poked her foot in his face and said, "I waited so long for you last night, but you never came. And what did you do last night?" Lin Chu said that yesterday was a very hard day. Cleaning the house takes a long time. Suddenly she called the maid Xiao. She came at the first order. Cheng Yimou asked her if she knew where Lin Chu disappeared last night. She replied that he was too lazy, so she gave him more responsibilities yesterday. Cheng Yimou looked at Lin Chu and said he wouldn't have to do it anymore. "Last night, I wanted to tell you that my father's birthday is in 3 days, so I'd like you to take this and buy him some present." "I'm sorry, but I can buy my father-in-law a gift myself." "Madam, if that's all, I'll be going. Then I'll go back to household chores too." Cheng Yimou didn't expect such a reaction from him. He ran out of the room and called Xiao. She stopped and he told her thanks for saving him. She cried and said this is the first time she has ever so brazenly cheated the mistress, but because of you I had to do it. Lin Chu asked her to calm down and stop crying. After all, it's a lie for her own good, otherwise how could he tell her his secret? She replied, "Why doesn't he just say that he is the sender of that money?" "Because, my reputation in the Chen family can only change for the better, as there's no way to make it worse. Everyone already thinks he's very bad. What would they think if he said that the money was from him? Would they believe it? So I'm waiting for the right time when I'm influential enough and I'll tell the whole truth to Cheng Yimou." "So it's true, you are Mr. Wei?" "Of course, but no one should find out about it, so I'd like to get your support." She looked at him with surprised eyes and didn't know how to react to this. She deeply apologized to him as her attitude towards him at the beginning was disgusting. He said it was all in the past and now the important thing is to realize that he is not her enemy but her friend. Lin Chu asked her what the head of the family liked, because he wanted to give him a birthday present. Xiao said he likes antiques, calligraphy, painting, and for the past 2 years he has been interested in investing. Besides, he adores actress Cheng Jing, who is very popular. He thought about it, as the name reminded him of someone. Xiao showed him a picture of the actress and he was shocked. Wasn't she his mistress in his past life when he was a film director? "Cheng Jing, you are just something, you are good from absolutely every angle. Please, just me, I can't afford to buy better food, it's okay, but we can eat noodles together. I love you honey, this is the first time, be careful." Ling Chu wondered if she was more famous than he expected. He took Xiao's hand and said, "What are we waiting for, let's go to her house." They walked to the Qing family's mansion where Jing lived. Xiao didn't understand why Lin Chu had taken her with him. "Follow me, I want to figure out my abilities, aren't you a cultivator like Chen Yimou?" He was aware that cultivation stages were divided into several groups. He asked her what stage she and Chen Yimou were in. Xiao replied that Madame was in stage 7, the foundation formation, and he was in stage 3, the core formation. "Not bad, so you're stronger than Chen Yimou." "Yes, mistress was always for us to learn cultivation together," she shared her pills. At this moment, he started typing the password to the Cheng family mansion. Xiao wondered how could he know the password, has he been here? He replied that not only was he here, he even lived here. Downloading the memory of the director, his name is Zhang Zhe, he was the lover of actress Cheng and quite a famous director, and their relationship was really beautiful. One rich and powerful man, Jing Ming, decided to invest in his project and he agreed. But one day he found out that he was making her sleep with him. I got angry and tried to hit him, but he secretly threw me off the roof. And the best part is, after I died, my movie became popular and she got rich. Enter her house. Xiao was surprised at the size of the house, it was very large. Suddenly the bathroom door opened and Chang came out of there. She asked who they were and what are they doing here. Lin Chu asked to hear him out. He exclaimed that he was Zhang Jie. She was furious as this couldn't be and she attacked them. Xiao repelled her attack. She said she was in the core formation stage. Lin Chu began to list facts that Zhang Jie might have known. She is allergic to peaches, she doesn't like people who aren't punctual. She said it could have been easy to find out, so why should she trust him? At the last moment he said she has a mole on her left breast and her ear is the most sensitive part of her body and her favorite pose is. At this point she stopped and said, that's enough. Is he really Zhang Jie? Do you believe me now? My soul was reborn in this body when I saw you. She jumped on him and said she missed him so much. She cried and asked him why he killed himself that day. Lin Chu replied that he was killed by Jing Ming. But now I'm back and I'm going to get revenge on him. At night they went home. Xiao asked him why he lied to her, since he wasn't Zhang Jie. Lin Chu answered that he didn't lie to her because he really does have his memories in his head. Besides, he has the souls of about 10,000 other people. Xiao asked him why he needed so many. He replied that his main purpose was to steal from the richest families in Longqing. After all, everyone knows about the 4 great families in Longqing: Chen, Jing, Luo, and Zhao, and he wanted to get rid of the Jing family first. But to do so, he needed Zhao's help, so that everyone would think that he was just a wasteful son-in-law and a sponger, not Mr. Wei, who had become known throughout the city. Xiao replied, but why on earth would she help him? Lin Chu said he was doing it for the good of Chen Mo, for he is like Mr. Wei. He wants to help her improve her position in the Chen house and destroy everyone who dislikes her. Xiao was willing to help him, but only on one condition. From now on, when he goes out at night, she will be there with him to supervise him, so as not to upset Lady Qingmo, as she will be calmer when she is by his side if there is a pretty girl like Qing Jingyan again. At this time, at the headquarters of the Jing family. Sister Suwan, congratulations on being able to unite the Yakuza all over Japan, but we haven't seen this Mr. Wei. At this point, Jing interrupted their conversation and said that he urgently needed several 100,000 yuan. It's Chen Mo's dad's birthday and he wants to buy a gift for his future father-in-law. His father said to him, how dare he interrupt a business conversation, she's already getting married to another guy soon, and you haven't given up yet. He took pity on his son and gave him a VIP card. At the same time he apologized for his son's behavior. He also added that the destruction of the counterfeit banknote organization was not his doing and he was willing to help her find Mr. Wei. The girl thanked him for his time. Unexpectedly Zizan said he knew Mr. Wei. Her father didn't believe him, but he said he had no reason to lie. The girl told him he took her to him immediately. He was surprised. Isn't such a nice girl at the soul birth stage? He said he didn't know him personally, but knew his close friend. Wei's friend, who is he? Someone other than Lin Chu, the son-in-law of Seven Cheng. At this time, Lin Chu was meditating. He was surprised that his body had so much energy, but for some reason it didn't mix. Xiao stopped by. She reminded him that tomorrow is the birthday of the head of the family. Did he remember to prepare a gift? Lin Chu replied that all the members of the Chen family looked down on him and whatever he gave them would just be trash to them. Xiao reminded him that he had promised Cheng Mo to give his dad a gift. After all, while he was lying in a coma, Madam was the only one taking care of him. Madam, do you need any help? No, I don't. He's a bastard, but I'm responsible for him. Lin Chu asked her not to worry, because he had prepared something. The next day, many guests came to the Chen family's house. They gave precious and rare artifacts that were incredibly expensive. One of the guests was surrounded by girls and he offered to show them a treasure that can only be found once in a lifetime, the legendary elixir of immortality. Tai Sui. The head of the family was greatly surprised. Could it be him? Suddenly, Lin Chu laughed out loud and said to him, are you telling me that this piece of trash is Tai Sui? He grabbed Lin Chu by the shirt and replied, how dare you say such a thing, what's so funny? Lin Chu replied, how can he not laugh when you called a piece of silicone Tai Sui? The guest didn't want to tolerate this kind of attitude anymore, so he asked Chen Mo to calm Lin Chu down. He said that he was just ignorant, because Lin Chu himself could replicate the statue with just a knife on the cake. At this point, the head of the family told them to stop, because their main problem was the Jing family. as their family had excelled in the film industry and made good money from it. But Chen's family also wanted to compete in the industry, but they haven't succeeded in such a long time. So he decided to put his assignment on someone. He wanted someone to persuade Qing Jing to join their family, and the success of the Qing family would be guaranteed. And whoever gets it first would be in charge of the main headquarters in the industry. All the members of the Qing family were surprised, as it was a high position. Doesn't Qing Jing have a contract with the Jing family? I don't think she can break it. Suddenly, Lin Chu laughed and exclaimed that this assignment was too easy and he and Cheng Yimou could easily handle it. The rest of the family members took such a statement with disdain, and began to insult him. Chen Yimou asked him what kind of joke was this. He told her not to worry, for he had everything under control. One of the guests challenged Lin Chu. He said if he called her right now and she didn't pick up the phone, Lin Chu would have to kneel down in front of her father-in-law and ask for forgiveness. Lin Chu said, "What happens if the opposite happens?" He said he was willing to kneel down in front of him and apologize to him. Lin Chu agreed. He took Qing Mo's phone and called Qing Jing. "You got caught, no one will ever believe you. At this moment, she is streaming and will definitely not pick up the phone." Suddenly Qing Jing picked up the phone during the live broadcast. Lin Chu in front of Qing Mo's phone and told her to invite her to join the Qing family. Qing Yimou picked up the phone and introduced herself as the eldest daughter of the Chen family and offered to join their family. Qing Jing was surprised at such an offer, but she agreed without any problems. At this moment, Lin Chu looked at the family member he had bet with and told him that it was time to fulfill his promise. He couldn't believe it. As it turned out, Lin Chu had told her the day he met with Qing Jing to keep her phone to herself, and when he called her, she should agree to whatever she was offered. But the loser didn't want to kneel down in front of Lin Chu and apologize. The head of the family used magic and he knelt down. The head added that he must keep his words, and appointed Qing Yimou as head of the film industry department. Qing Yimou stood in a stupor and didn't understand how it happened. The next day, Lin Chu was watering flowers at the Qing family home. Suddenly a pink-haired girl looked at him. From the bushes, she looked at him and was very surprised. She noticed that he had a lot of souls in his body. How could he manage not to go crazy and live in harmony with all of them? She thought he was too dangerous and she had to strike first. Suddenly someone told her that she was not strong enough to kill him. She turned around and didn't realize what the silhouette was. She jumped away from it, and that girl materialized. Damn, moving technique. She's clearly times stronger than me. Who are you? The girl looked at her but didn't say anything. Suddenly she activated the magic of enchantment. You can't do anything to him. He's the reincarnation of the love of my life, who lived 1,000 years ago. If the situation gets out of hand, only I can kill him. Who are you? Did you give him so many souls? I simply restored his memories and it allowed him to remember me, but unfortunately his body is too weak to withstand that kind of power. Using the aura to awaken memories, is that really one of the oldest summoning techniques? At this point she was using a movement technique. The pink-haired girl was surprised. She suddenly appeared in front of her and said that she had such a beautiful face, just like Lin Chu. She took out her blade and exclaimed that it was time to end it. At this time, Lin Chu thought about it, as the systematization of the memories of 10,000 souls was completed and it took less time than he thought. Qing Yimou came up to him and said that she admired what he had done yesterday. He said it was all due to Mr. Wei and that he was just following his instructions. Qing Yimou approached him and asked how he was related to Mr. Wei. Lin Chu unsurely replied that Mr. Wei was his old friend who only wanted to help him so that she would have a better opinion of Lin Chu. What do you mean by, a better opinion of you? Oh, I don't know, you should check with Mr. Wei. Qing Yimou wanted to ask his father to appoint him as a deputy in our film industry headquarters. But Lin Chu said there's no need for that, he's just a wreck. Suddenly she hugged him and said, you still care about me, even though I treated you so badly for the past 3 years. But Lin Chu wasn't enough to become the deputy of one small staff. He wanted to get hold of the whole Chen family. At this time, the fight continued, but the pink-haired girl could not land a single blow. She gave up and said she was no match for her. The outcome of the fight was predetermined from the start. I'm willing to take off your charms if you give up trying to kill Lin Chu. But she had no plans to kill him, but she didn't want to lose this fight either, so she agreed. At that moment, all the enchantment magic was gone, her blade was gone, and her clothes had changed. She did not know what to do in this situation, so she decided to pretend to be Lin Chu's brother. He asked her who she was. "Don't tell me you've forgotten me, I'm your little sister from Japan." She told him she knew he was Mr. Wei and if he didn't want her to reveal his identity, he should play along. Lin was perplexed by this, but still decided to play along. He was glad that his little sister had decided to visit her beloved brother. "Brother, we haven't seen each other for so long, we have a lot to talk about. Let's go." Chen Imo suspected something bad. How could she sneak in here? "Ha, you can't hide from me anymore." "Ryoko, who are you? I remember your name, are you the man behind the Wu brothers?" She wanted to punish him for his insolence, but the situation changed. A white-haired girl found her and asked her not to kill him, and promised to fulfill her innermost wish. The white-haired girl? Has she appeared again? Show me where she is. She did magic damage to him and asked, "Can't you wait to see your love?" Perhaps I didn't explain it well. I can't kill you, but I can cripple you. Now let's test your power of 10,000 souls. Shall we? She decided to test him with her magic, but Lin Chu just smiled and took out a chemical ball and threw it at her. He sneaked behind her back. But she saw him, because she couldn't be easily handled. Ryoko took him by the neck and told him he's her little brother now and he'll do what she says. Lin Chu didn't know what to do in this situation, but didn't she say she couldn't kill him? She let him go and he fell to his knees. At this point, he decided to activate the Poison King's memory and poisoned the tangerine. Ling Chu offered the poisoned tangerine. She did not suspect anything strange about it. Lin Chu watched as she ate it. But at the last moment, she stopped and realized there was poison in the tangerine. Lin Chu activated the cyber sportsman's memory and hit her on the arm and she accidentally ate it. Ryoko indignantly told him what kind of crap he put in her. He replied that it was a special Poison King pill and now she won't be able to use her spiritual powers and will now paralyze her. Lin Chu grabbed her by the shirt and said, "Well, shall we play? Don't think your wretched poison will hurt me. I'll go back to Tokyo with you and suck the antidote out of your soul." Lin Chu told her that the effect of the poison wouldn't allow her to do that. Ryoko replied that she would solve the problem anyway and told her to get out of here. But he suggested she make a deal with him. She asked him, surprised, what kind of deal? He offered to give her the antidote, and she, in turn, would become his bodyguard. Ryoko clapped him on the arm and said he couldn't push her around because of some poison. Lin Chu not only offered her the antidote, but also gave her money to buy everything and soon she will be considered a partner to the owner of Longchen. Partners? Will you become the richest man in Longchen? Come back to reality, stop dreaming. With the souls of 10,000 people, I could lay the world at my feet. Ryoko wondered to him why he was still alive, since he had so many memories. He replied that he can't cultivate, but his memories are his power. I have already become the husband of Chen Mo of the Chen family and literally just persuaded Qing Jing to join the Chen family. I will soon conquer those pitiful 4 families in Longchen. How dare you doubt me? You know what? I'll do it, but only after I take the antidote. Here, this pill will stop the spread, but if you want to get the poison out of your body completely, you must obey me. Your pill looks like another poison. He told her she might not take it. But she had no choice, so she took it. I forgot to tell you the side effect, it's a powerful aphrodisiac. I can help you if you spread your legs. I was kidding. At this time, one of the family members in the film industry office was destroying documents and soon Chen Mo will realize that she has no power. It's just like I wanted. After this, no one will be able to oppose me. Meanwhile, in the Jing house, Ming hit Qing Jing. "Who told you to terminate the contract? Do you know how much I invested to make you popular? Hundreds of millions." "I'm sorry, but Mr. Wei ordered me to do it. He promised revenge on Jing Ming and me if I don't do his bidding. It seems there's no way to avoid conflict with Mr. Wei." He called his assistants and told them to find Mr. Wei and bring him to him, and if they don't do his bidding, he'll rip their legs and arms out and then come to their wives. He set a reward of 1 billion yuan for his head, alive or dead. After a while, Qing Jing made an appointment with Lin Chu at the elite apartment. The workers wondered if this wasn't the same star. They bet she came here for a date. She overheard them talking and told them to be quiet or they'd be in trouble. Qing went into the room. Lin was waiting for her. He asked her why she had brought him here. She hugged him and said, "Zhang Jie, I didn't think I'd see you so soon." Lin exclaimed that he had his soul, but he wasn't Zhang. "What do you want from me? Why did you bring me here? There's a billion bounty on your head. I want you to be safe." "Wow, a billion, this guy's a real punk. He hated me after I did what you asked." "Honey, why are you touching my face? It's still puffy." "Don't worry, I'll make it look better." "But he's dangerous, wouldn't it be better to avoid him and strike stealthily?" Lin Chu replied that he can't leave everything halfway. Qing told him that he wants to kill him, so why not kill him first? Murder. He got you into all this, kill or be killed. "Don't worry, I'll help you. I'll make him vulnerable to attack." But Lin Chu suspected a setup. He pushed her away and said that she had colluded with Jing Ming in the same way to kill Zhang Zhe, right? Qing didn't understand him. He said he has Zhang Jie's soul, which means he can see his memories and understand them better than Zhang. It pissed you off that Zhang Jie was from a poor family, so you secretly flirted with Jing Ming. Later, you decided you couldn't go on like this and decided to get rid of Zhang Jie. Not only did you manage to hide the truth about your past with Zhang Jie, but you also had the nerve to use his death. And now you dared to repeat the same tricks on me. No matter who survives or dies in the end, you will remain the winner. Qing Jing, you were always mercenary. Jing activated her aura and said that he is not as stupid as he seems, but his mind will be the cause of his demise. She attacked him as she knew he had no strength, and without his assistant maid, he would not be able to do anything to her, so she would not miss the chance to make 1 billion. Lin Chu stood by the closet and said, "Try to get it." Qing pounced on him, but at that moment someone flew out of the closet and hit her. It was Ryoko. Qing couldn't believe it. Is she in the soul birth stage? "So you planned this in advance? Sis, you're so quick to react. Don't you want your little brother to get hurt?" "I don't want to lose you, you're my lifeline." Lin Chu came up to her and said that he quickly recognized her true nature and suggested that she could go back to Jing Ming and tell him the news. "What news?" "That you managed to uncover Mr. Wei's identity and find out why you were forced to join the Qin family." "So you want me to tell Jing Ming who Mr. Wei is?" "Exactly. He's the eldest son of the Qing family. Mr. Wei is none other than Qing Che." After a while Chen Mo came to the film studio office. The employees were surprised. Could it be that this is the eldest daughter of the Qin family? How did she become the boss at the film industry headquarters so suddenly? Upon entering her office, she was greeted by a certain man. He greeted her. He said that he had been anticipating their meeting for so long. Chen Mo looked surprised and asked, did he have the company reports she requested? "Of course, I have prepared everything, the words of the representative of the Qin family for me the law. In addition, the young master said to tell you that despite his gaffe at that party, he will definitely regain his position as boss in the film industry department." "I got it, now you can piss off." Chen Mo started to look at the reports, but she realized there's something wrong with the reports. "These reports are just fake, they don't recognize me as the boss, so all power for now belongs to Qing Che." Suddenly she got a phone call. She picked it up. She got a call from Mr. Wei. He told her that she might have already guessed that all the reports from the film industry department are fake. Chen Mo didn't understand how Mr. Wei knew that. Was he spying on her? Mr. Wei added that not only did they issue a fake report, but they also destroyed the original staff reports. But what these idiots don't even realize is that by the time your father was born, I had already stolen all the information from the database and saved it. Now I can share the real reports with you so you can easily get your hands on this headquarters. Who are you, Mr. Wei? Why are you helping me? But at that moment he hung up. At this time Ruch was discussing her. Does she think she's the boss? She thinks she can just show up and give commands, but she didn't. Zhang Yimou came up to Roch and told him to come into her office because they needed to discuss work processes. But he replied very rudely, saying if she had something to say, let her talk right now, he's a busy man and doesn't have time for that. Chen Yimou grinned at him and said that on the 7th of July he had transferred 5 million yuan to an empty company for money laundering, and didn't he think that was the end of his career? He was shocked by this information. How could she have known about it? She went on to list all his shenanigans of transferring and cashing out money. Roch apologized to Chen Yimou and said he was wrong and asked for mercy. I have fully realized my mistake. I will never go against you again. And I'm ready to carry out any orders you give me. She grabbed him by the jacket and demanded the money he stole from the company and told him to spy on Ching Che. You'll report all of Ching Che's orders, every single one of them. The next day, Ching Che called Mrs. Ching Jing and asked her to meet to discuss their cooperation. She said yes and offered to meet tomorrow at noon at the Longhao Hotel. Master Jing, I made an appointment for you to meet Mr. Wei tomorrow at noon. She threw off her towel. He asked her where the meeting point was. She walked up to him and replied that your meeting will take place at the Longhao Hotel. The next day they met at the designated hotel. Ching Che was delighted by her beauty. He sat close to her and hugged her. He said, even though I'm not the boss of the film industry now, since you have a contract with the Ching family, you could say that we are one family. Are you saying I'm like a sister to you? Aren't you afraid that Ching Yimou might find out that you secretly met me today? Chen Che is happy, because her body was amazing and those cheap actresses are not even close. He replied to her that nothing will happen if Chen Yimou finds out about their meeting, and what can she even do? She said, okay, if you're not afraid to get caught, then put this on first. Chen Che thought that she was offering him role-playing and tonight would be a lot of fun. He clarified with her, but what is it for? She walked up to him and said affectionately that he could change in the other room while she put on a more erotic outfit. Chen Che took her hand and said, why don't they both change right here? She replied that it would kill the whole atmosphere. After which, she left the room and told the head of the Jingming family that Mr. Wei was in the room now. It was an ambush. Chen Che put on Mr. Wei's costume and didn't understand. Did she really like men dressed like that? At that moment, Jingming broke down the door and exclaimed, so that's who you are, and yet for your head I offered 1 billion. But Chen Che couldn't say anything, because it was a setup and the glasses activated the metal mask. Because of it he couldn't say anything. Min walked up to him and congratulated him, for he was the first one in Longchen who made him mad. Good job, and now he will be punished. Chen Chen didn't understand which Mr. Wei was talking about. Was he confused with someone else? Lin Chu had attached a microphone to Chen Ching Chang's tie in advance and began to provoke Jing Ming. You don't seem to be in a hurry to beat me up, you might regret it later. Although you don't have the guts. If you don't have the guts to punch me in the face, then I'll kill your whole pathetic family. Ming was surprised at Mr. Wei's courage. He ordered his guards to start beating him up. Lin Chu was approached by a maid and asked what he was even doing and what was going on. He said he was having fun watching some hyenas beat up another cornered hyena. They kept beating him, but Ching Che still couldn't say anything because of the mask. At one point, Min told them to beat him to death. Suddenly, someone broke down the door and told them to stop. Min nervously asked, who dared to do that? Mr. Jing. How dare you raise your hand against the eldest son of the Chen family? Or do you want to declare war on our family? What are you talking about? Our target is Mr. Wei, who doesn't know his place. His cloak is just such a proof, Wei had one just like it. Suddenly Sima Cha activated the aura and broke the mask, underneath it was Chen Che. He picked it up and said, "Master, I came here to protect you. It seems we've been deceived, Mr. Wei has already desecrated Chen Che's honor at his father's birthday party. So, I don't think Chen Che is Mr. Wei, it seems Qing Jing has deceived us." Sima Cha looked at his tie and noticed that there was a microphone attached to it. "You've done a lot of damage to my master and you'll have to repay it handsomely, but right now we have to find this Wei, I think he's quite close, I'll track him down." Sima Cha activated one of the powerful techniques, his soul left his body. Everyone else was confused, how did Sima Cha do this? Does the Chen family have someone so capable? Sima Cha is one of the 4 great guardians of the Chen family, he can use spiritual abilities even though he is only at the condensation stage. His talent for spiritual abilities has allowed him to open different doors in the spiritual arts. He possesses the technique of omnipresence, which allows him to disperse his soul to a radius of 3 kilometers. His spiritual power probably let him know that Chen Che was in danger. Lin Chu was frightened as Sima Cha is a dangerous man and he can easily find their location within a minute. And if it comes to a fight, they can't overpower him. The maid and Lin Chu were sitting in one of the neighboring rooms from Sima Cha. The maid said, "What can I do? After all, if they are found now, Lady Cheng Yimo will be in danger." Lin Chu decided to activate the magician's memories and use the illusion. But Xiao grabbed his hands and said, "Just do as I say." She threw him on the bed. Lin Chu wondered, what did she decide to do? Xiao took off her clothes and said it was all for Mistress Chen Yimo. Lin Chu was in a stupor. The spirit of Sima Cha entered their room and was surprised. He said, "Seriously? I thought the era of people coming here to sin is long gone." Naked Xiao was sitting on Lin Chu. She decided to do so, in order to make Sima Cha think that they are here for another reason. Lin Chu thought, would the maid be willing to do such a thing, so that Lady Cheng Yimo would be calm? Sima Cha saw them and thought, isn't this the same husband of Lady Cheng Yimo and her personal maid? At that moment, she passionately kissed Lin Chu. Sima Cha watched this and was puzzled, how could this happen? At this time, the maid was playing out her role as a mistress in a very believable way. Sima Cha thought, interestingly enough, it's a pity that the real Mr. Wei I'm looking for wasn't here. But now I have some dirt in my hands against our family's son-in-law. The next day, Chen Che summoned Lin Chu to his office and asked him, "Lin Chu, where were you yesterday afternoon?" He replied that he was working around the house. Xiao can confirm that. Chen Che exclaimed, "You're lying. Yesterday afternoon you were at the Longhao Hotel, Sima Che accidentally found you while following Mr. Wei's trail." Lin Chu said, "Okay, you got me figured out, Mr. Wei is me." Chen Che didn't believe him and laughed. He said, "Do you think I'm not aware of your relationship with Xiao?" Sima Cha said, "I'm very curious, how will Mrs. Chen Yimo react to her husband cheating with her maid?" Lin Chu said, "If Chen Yimo finds out, she'll kick me out of the house." Chen Che grabbed him by the shirt and said, "All right, let's keep it a secret, but in return, you will spy on Chen Yimo for us. Do as I say." Lin Che agreed to his terms and left. Chen Che asked Sima Cha how the Jing family, who beat me, was going to pay for the damage they brought me. Sima replied that they asked for forgiveness and offered 1 billion as compensation. "Besides, I told them about your plans and they too are turned against Chen Yimo after what happened, so they gladly agreed." Chen Che smiled wickedly and said, "Chen Yimo, you are surrounded, let's see what you will do now." After 3 hours, Lin Chu was approached by Zhao's maid and asked, "Chen Che suspected you of being Mr. Wei?" He said there was no suspicion. Xiao looked at him and said, "Just forget what happened between us and never remember again. Don't worry, I promise it won't happen." This incident made it clear to me that without spiritual power, it's better to stay in the shadows at Cheng's house and keep a low profile. Xiao said, "But you have such opportunities, and here you're just wasting your strength." Lin Chu replied that he would write a short story on behalf of Mr. Wei, which he would publish and become popular and call it, Let the Conquests of the Whole World. Lin Chu spent several days writing the novella and was supposed to finish it in a couple of days. As he was writing, he realized that he could combine the memories of experts. For example, he could apply the knowledge of a poison expert and a gunsmith and could create a combined weapon, a poison crossbow. At that moment someone knocked on his door. Outside the door was Sima Cha. Lin Chu opened the door and asked, "What do you want?" He said, "Little brother, I think you have great potential that will take you to the top." Lin Chu was puzzled. Did Sima Cha really know that I was Mr. Wei? "Don't worry about it, I used my spiritual power to spot you with that maid the other day. That's when I knew we could be friends." "What? Friends?" Sung Cha took him by the shoulder and said, "I'm inviting you to join the cult of the gifted, there's a lot of talented people there. I'm sure you'll like it." Lin Chu said in surprise, "I'm gifted? I'm nothing more than a failed son-in-law." Sung Cha hugged him and said, "Brother Lin Chu, you're so humble. The way you pull it off makes you worthy in my eyes." Lin Chu didn't say confidently, "I guess you're right." He said the initiation is in 3 days. Our organization is a secret organization, so we have a membership fee of 1 million, so don't forget the money. Lin Chu thought to himself, I guess I'll just be cheated for 1 million. A few hours later Lin Chu disguised himself as Mr. Wei. Jing came to him and said, "Mr. Wei, what should I do now?" The Jing family realized that I was involved in that Chen Che frame-up and blocked my accounts. Lin Chu looked at her and said, "Is that so? At least you won't have the dilemma of which family you belong to, but don't worry, you can still work under Mrs. Cheng Mo. It's all a planned act. From asking you to lie to Cheng Che to the hotel, you knew this would happen. If you don't want to, you're still a beautiful girl and can easily sell your body. Everything you got from the Jing family, the Cheng family can provide. But you'll have to give me half of your monthly salary. From now on, you'll be my living ATM machine." At that moment, Ryoko said, "My help ends here, Cheng doesn't bother you anymore. Can you give me the antidote now?" He took out the antidote and gave it to Ryoko. She took it and said, "What's the catch? You're just giving it to me like that." Lin Chu said, "There's no catch." Ryoko took the antidote and at that moment Lin Chu said honestly, "I didn't even poison you." Ryoko got angry and activated her aura. Suddenly Lin Chu activated the poison expert and whistled. After the whistle, all of Ryoko's spiritual aura began to disappear. Lin Chu said, "Now the poison has worked, it contains a spiritual power disperser and therefore temporarily blocks her. On my whistle, she's blocked for 5 minutes." She was angry at him again, but without the spiritual aura, she couldn't do anything. "Without spiritual power, you are such a small girl," she said. "Lin Chu, don't forget how screwed up you are. I have conquered all of Tokyo as a master at the soul birth level, no man dare to lay a finger on me." Lin Chu took her hand and said, "So what?" Suddenly he kissed her and said, "Now I touched you and kissed you, what are you going to do to me?" She looked at him and said, "Sooner or later, I swear, you will answer for everything." At this time Cheng came to Chen Mo. Chen Mo asked how Master Wei managed to change her mind and join us. Cheng said that she promised Mr. Wei not to disclose information. "Mr. Wei has done a lot for you, maybe he is someone in your inner circle." Mrs. Cheng Mo wondered, "From a close circle?" At this time Lin Chu was lying on the bed reading a book. Suddenly Ryoko came up to him. He asked her in surprise, "What are you doing? You don't want Chen Mo to find out about your second identity, do you? Give me the antidote or I'll tell Lady Chen Mo everything." At that moment, Chen Mo was walking by Lin Chu's room and heard shouting. She entered the room and Lin Chu saw her. He said, "Sister Ryoko, we can't be together. I have Chen Mo and she's the only one I love." Lin Chu got out of bed and jumped up to Chen Mo. He told her, "I'm not interested in Ryoko, don't believe everything she says." Chen Mo said she believed him, because Ryoko is not a type of girl. At this point she took his hand and said, "Now be honest with me, Mr. Wei, is that you? Lin Chu, you're the one who helped me get my license in the film industry department and put Chen Che in his place, aren't you?" Ryoko said, "That's right, Lin Chu has been lying to you all this time." Chen Imo looked at her and told her to shut up. "Even if he lied to me, it's only for good and it's none of your business." Ryoko wondered, how so? Shouldn't she go to my side and be against Lin Chu? Lin Chu said, "You're wrong, I'm not Mr. Wei. I'm not wrong, several times you've helped me stealthily. I've always been surrounded by the enemy and only you've always been on my side since I first met you." Chen Imo began to remember events that were 5 years ago, when her father decided to marry her off. She was against it and broke off relations with her family, and when Chen Imo returned to school she began to be humiliated. As it turned out, Chen Che came to school a day before, gave money to her classmates and told them to humiliate Chen Imo in order for her to return home. The classmates took the money and said he could rely on them. They approached Chen Imo and told her to get the hell out of school as no classmate was happy to see her. But Chen Imo was interceded for by Lin Chu and said to the classmate, "Shut your mouth, who are you to speak for everyone?" The classmate said that Chen Che entrusted her with this responsibility. "Do you want to go against Chen's family?" Lin Chu replied, "Master Chen is a piece of shit, but what motivates you?" A classmate said that you will regret it. At this moment, Chen Imo looked at Lin Chu and asked, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Hao was puzzled and said he didn't have a girlfriend. Chen Imo said that after everything, not only will I not return home but I will become your girlfriend. Since then, the attempts to marry me off stopped. During college we got closer and closer, but we didn't have any money, but we had fun and even ate street food. Looking back, you're the one who brought my college days to life. And that's why I chose to give up the most important things in life for you. For your 20th birthday, I prepared a special gift for you." Chen Imo covered his eyes with a blindfold and told him to come into the room. He took off the blindfold and was shocked at what he saw. There was Chen Imo in a cat costume with a bow on the bed in front of him. This was the end of the memories, and Chen Imo said, "I thought about it for a long time. It should be someone from my close circle and you look like the most." Ling Chu said, "Chen Imo, this is all a misunderstanding. It's only recently that you thought I was a total nobody. What kind of Mr. Wei am I?" Chen Imo slapped him and said, "Tell me, where were you when I first met him and when Chen Che attacked?" "I know you weren't home." Ling Chu said he went shopping with Xiao. "You can ask her yourself." "Really? Then I'll call her right now. I don't think she would dare lie to me." Suddenly Mr. Wei appeared in front of the window. He said, "Miss Chen, heard you were looking for me." She turned around in surprise and said, "Mr. Wei?" Chen Mo looked at Lin Chu and said, "So you're not Mr. Wei?" Suddenly Mr. Wei was about to leave, but Chen Mo asked him to stop. She ran out of the room and went outside. "Mr. Wei, wait." Mr. Wei's costume was disguised as a maid Xiao. Lin Chu had attached a microphone to her in advance and spoke to her from the room. But Lin Chu realized that this would not be enough and decided to take a risk. He went outside and said that Mr. Wei should show his identity. He ran and purposely tripped and pushed Chen Mo to the fake Mr. Wei. He caught her, and at that moment Lin Che on the microphone said, "I love you, Chen Mo." The maid in Mr. Wei's costume was puzzled, because they didn't agree on anything. Chen Mo won't suspect Lin Chu anymore. Lin Chu decided to play along and said, "Hey you devil in the cape, you're talking to my wife now." Chen Mo asked him not to be angry. He said, "I can't compete with a talented man like Mr. Wei. I'm no match for him. I understand if you like him better." Chen Mo said, "Never mind, I just wanted to know who he was." Lin Chu looked at her with tears and said, "Chen Mo, do you want to leave me?" She replied, "Don't worry, I married you, not Mr. Wei. I was wrong about you, but from now on I'll be on your side. You're the only one I can count on now. We have to work together." The next day, Chen Mo and Lin Chu went to the film industry office together. The employees were surprised. "Who goes with Miss Chen Mo?" A friend replied that it was her husband. Who would have thought that the lady would like such men? Maybe he's good at other things. Cheng Yimou went into Cheng Mo's office to give him the company records that Mr. Wei helped provide. She asked him to check them. There was nothing suspicious in them. Lin Chu began to check the documentation. He activated the professional auditor mode. Chen Yimou said that she had checked these documents many times and she was left with the feeling that there was something wrong with the documents. Even with Cheng Jing, the situation in the company was getting worse. If things continued like this, the company would soon go bankrupt. Lin Chu thought. Her intuition didn't fail her. Everything looked like the movement of assets within the company. They've covered their tracks well and would have disappeared without a trace, but if they hadn't bumped into an expert like me. There's a lot of suspicious stuff here, and it's all roaches doing. Chen Yimou asked him, did you find something? Lin Chu said, unfortunately no, I almost didn't understand anything. She said, I just wanted to hear an alternative point of view. If that's all, I'll be going. I have a lot of important things to do that would be lost without me. At this time, Ryoko was holding Roach's leg on the roof of the building. Roach asked who she was and she messed with the wrong person. If his people found out she would be in trouble. Lin Chu stepped in as Mr. Wei and told him if he didn't answer his questions, he would fly a rock to the bottom. Roach asked to let him go, because he's just an office worker like any other. Lin Chu told Ryoko to let him go. She let go and Roach fell down, but at the last moment she activated her spiritual aura and caught him. He said, you're crazy, how could you just let go like that? Lin Chu asked him a question, who sent informants to Chen's company? Roach replied, you must have suspected Chen, but he's only my boss. Jing Yin was in charge, it was his doing. Jing Yin? How did he pull it off and who else did he send? I guess you've heard that Jing Yin worked for the Cheng Mo family headquarters. Before he left he infiltrated the support department and bugged all the offices. We were only told about our missions, we don't interact, so I'm not aware of the others. If I hadn't made Chen Yimou fire him back then, the Chen family would have been destroyed, but even then Jing Yin managed to launch moles into the company. If things continue in this vein, soon Chen company will go bankrupt. And with this silly showdown, where Chen Che only thinks about how he can corner Chen Yimou once again, the Chen family wouldn't stand a chance. It looks like I'll have to be involved. In the evening at the Chen residence, Lin Chu had published the novel The Way of Conquering the Whole World and all that was left was to wait for the reader's feedback. At this point, Maid Xiao came up to him and asked if it was true that Jing Yin had spread moles at the Chen family headquarters. Lin Chu replied that there were too many of them. So madam is in danger. You must help her. I'll do my best, but the key is Jing Yin, only he knows everything. Xiao offered to grab him. Ryoko watched them and thought, is there something between them? I think their relationship has gotten a lot better. Lin Chu said, I'll start an investigation. Jing Yin is also prudent and always surrounded by at least 10 guards. The weak ones are masters in the core formation stage. Ryoko, can you handle them? I'll try, but I can't guarantee. Lin Chu began to think, as he needed to find Jing Yin's weaknesses, and he remembered, Chen Mo's weakness was Jing Yin. At this time, Chen Yimou was lying in her room and sleeping. At this moment Lin Chu entered her room. Chen Yimou thought, what is he doing here so late? He should be sleeping in his room. What is he doing in my room? Can't he handle anything? Should we wake up and tell him? Not that we wouldn't do that, but to be like this. What about dinner and talking and foreplay? But Lin Chu took her phone and texted Jing Yin on behalf of Cheng Yimou and suggested we meet tomorrow. He agreed. He put the phone down and left. Chen Yimou thought, whatever, if he's too pushy, he'll get it in the eye. What? He just left, not even an encroachment. The next day Lin Chu and Xiao were talking about the plan of action. Xiao said, I know, but it's better than telling madam the whole truth. Nevertheless, I have a feeling it won't go that smoothly. Ryoko said, don't worry, as long as your sister's with you, it'll be fine. Even in the worst case scenario, if there are a few masters at the soul birth stage, I'll have no problem dealing with them. Lin Chu said, This time I'll go without a disguise, he won't dare to do anything against a member of the Qing family, and of course I'll record our sweet talk. If we manage to record a confession about his dark deeds, my father-in-law won't let him get away with it. The war between the Chen and Jing families will definitely start. Jing Yin arrived at the restaurant. He was excited as Chen Imo asked him out for the first time. He opened the door. At the table sat Lin Chu. He said, "Here we meet Jing Yin." He was puzzled. He asked, "Where is Chen Imo?" Ling Chu said, "She's not coming. I invited you here to talk to you about something." Jing Yin exclaimed, "Stop following me, I just want your wife." Lin Chu took out a tape recorder and said, "Can we go into more detail from now on?" Ling Chu played the tape, where Roach confessed to everything and said it was all Jing Yin's fault and that he had bugged the headquarters. Jing Yin was shocked. "Is this Roach a traitor?" Ling Chu asked, "Whose idea was this?" "Your dad's. Wanted to destroy the Chen family. By installing a large number of spies on all the Chen companies, it must have taken a lot of time and effort." Jing Yin was furious. He activated his spiritual aura and said that Dad had nothing to do with it. "It was my plan that I spent 5 years on. Everything you found out was entirely my idea. And now that you know everything, there's no point in me pretending anymore. I've pretended to be a stupid simpleton for too long and actually suppressed my true aura. I went through a lot to build an almost perfect base for the soul birth stage." Lin Chu was shocked by his strength. He couldn't even move, he only relied on Ryoko's strength. Suddenly, Jing Yin was attacked by Ryoko, but he grabbed her neck and told her that she was too weak to stop him. Ryoko demanded that he let her go. But Jing was furious and wanted to kill her, but at the last moment Lin Chu jumped on him and Jing Yin missed with a punch. Ryoko thought, "Am I going to die here at the hand of this slug? If I'd known sooner, I'd have had a bigger lunch." Ling Chu told him, "If you hurt me, you'll never see Chen Imo again." Jing said, "I was only pretending. How can you put a woman and the possibility of destroying an entire family on the same level?" At this time, Zhao's maid came running to Chen Imo and told her not to go slowly to Longgang restaurant, because Lin Chu is in danger now. "If you don't hurry, Jing Yin will kill him." She wondered how could this happen. "Notify all 4 guards of the Chen family and send them to Longgang immediately." At that time, Jing Yin twisted Lin Chu with his aura. Ryoko was lying unconscious. Jing Yin said, "I've been planning this for 5 years, ever since Chen Imo disowned her family. According to my original plan, I was supposed to save her, the poor girl who was rejected by all the school and her own family. Then I would take my rightful place as son-in-law in the Qing family." He swung around and hit Lin Chu with all his might. "But now you'll disappear forever." Lin Chu didn't know what to say. But at the last moment, his soul left his body and went to heaven. He wondered, "Why am I here again?" A white-haired girl came up to him and said, "Just darling." The ghost girl told him that she had only realized that by placing so many memories in him, she had destroyed his inner body, rendering him incapable of perfection. She asked him if he remembered her. Lin Chu wondered, "Perhaps you are a white-haired girl? Did I die?" She told him that she was not a white-haired girl and her name was Eva, and said that he shouldn't worry because he was her love, and could he just pick up and die like that? However, if Lin Chu didn't remember her, he would be on death's doorstep. This would be his punishment for cheating on her. Eva told him that he was too weak and she shouldn't constantly save his life from various troubles, but this time she will help him. She said that he should take a closer look at all the 9,999 souls and find out everything about them, and then he would remember his past life when she practiced couples cultivation with him. Suddenly Lin Chu returned to real life. At this moment Jing Yin wanted to kill Lin Chu and exclaimed, "Go to hell." But suddenly for some unknown reason, Jing Yin flew away from Lin Chu and hit the wall. He was shocked. He didn't understand where this horrible aura came from, as Lin Chu's meridians were critically injured. At this moment, Miss Chen Imo came to them and exclaimed, "Jing Yin, what are you doing to my husband?" Jin Yin didn't understand where the Chen family members came from. He took out a teleporting scroll and teleported out of the place. Miss Cheng Mo ran up to Lin Chu and hugged him. She cried and asked Lin Chu to wake up. After a while he opened his eyes and Miss Cheng Mo was incredibly happy that Lin Chu was alive. Lin Chu stretched out his hand and suddenly blue fire appeared. He was in a stupor and couldn't believe that he could summon spiritual power. So he fainted again, and after a while he woke up in the hospital. He saw Cheng Mo sleeping beside him. He was glad she had brought him to the hospital and was by his side. He decided to check his spirit and he succeeded in summoning her again. He thought that this was not a dream, but that his aura had really recovered after contact with Eva. At that moment Chen Mo woke up and hugged him. She was happy about it. Lin Chu apologized to her for causing her a lot of trouble. He said he wanted to make Jing Yin confess, and never would have thought that he would brazenly attack me like that. Chen Mo replied that Xiao had already told her everything, and at that moment Chen Mo kissed Lin Chu. His aura lit up even more. Chen Mo thanked him for putting himself in such danger for her and their family. But she was angry at Jing Yin and wouldn't let him run away and get away with such an act so easily, and he had to answer for daring to hit Lin Chu. Lin Chu told her to be careful with him, as he is actually very strong. After a while, a nurse came by and Lin Chu noticed that his spiritual strength had increased after kissing Chen Mo. The nurse came up to him and closed in with him. Lin Chu wondered what she was doing. At that moment she turned to him and it was Ryoko. She said she came to him to give him an injection. He warned her that if she tried to attack he would call for help right away, but Ryoko said that's not why she came. She wanted to heal him with her life energy. Lin Chu asked her, "Are you sure it's you? I have a vague doubt that you just want to take advantage of my helpless situation." Ryoko was unhappy with his opinion of her, and told him if he wasn't happy with something, she could leave. Lin Chu said don't let her leave as he is cold and he needs someone to warm him up in bed. She put her hand on his chest and started to restore him. He was surprised as this was the first time he felt healing by spiritual power. Ryoko looked at him and was confused. She said she had a feeling that his body was eating her aura. Lin Chu said, that's what Eva did to him. In a couple of close touches with him, she restored his spiritual power. Ryoko took his hand and said, your Hugen Dan core formation returned. They began to transfer and exchange spiritual power. Cultivation base can drastically strengthen after paired cultivation with Hugen Dan's body, the circulation of this spiritual energy through their body, eventually clearing it, which greatly affects the original aura of her body. Ryoko looked at Lin Chu passionately, because thanks to him, he would be able to reach the pinnacle of soul birth, but the power was transferred too slowly. Direct skin contact was needed, so it was worth expanding the contact area to maximize the spiritual power being absorbed. She took off her robe and told Lin Chu to take off her clothes, as they would be using a faster method of transmitting power. Lin Chu was in a stupor and did not know what to do in this situation. He asked her if it was a joke. You know I'm married, Ryoko replied. What's that got to do with it? I'm not trying to harm anything, just take off your clothes to fully accept you. How can martial artists restrict themselves to social customs and unnecessary formalities? Lin Chu answered her, it's not just a question of foundations, but will it do any good? Ryoko stepped even closer to him and said that there is no other faster way to transfer spiritual energy. She told him not to forget that Jing Yin could return at any moment, and she should become stronger so she could protect Lin Chu. But Lin Chu refused. But Ryoko wasn't satisfied with his answer and she tore his clothes with her spiritual power, and manipulated. She walked over to him and hugged him tightly, saying that they were now ready to transfer energy, and Lin Chu was fine with that. He started to move and she told him not to move, but he said in his place, everyone would move. Lin Chu and Ryoko cuddled for hours and Ryoko lay on the bed. It had been a long time since she had felt this way and she was overwhelmed with feelings of satisfaction. Ryoko asked him not to disturb her, for now she needed to rest. Lin Chu thought, It's the Hugen Dan core that sucks all the juice out of me. It's more trouble than good. After only a couple hours of practice I feel like a squeezed out lemon. I don't feel any change in my cultivation base at all. Suddenly Sima Cha came to him and said that Lin Chu was wonderful and that he had never admired anyone else so much. Sima Cha said, "Sell me your secret of success, and fuck a maid and even a beautiful nurse, which is every man's dream." Lin Chu wondered, "Why the hell did you come here?" Sima Cha replied, "Have you forgotten? 3 days have already passed and we have to go to the cult of the gifted, a million prepared." The next day Lin Chu and Sima Cha went to the cult of the gifted. Sima Cha said, "As the name of our cult implies, it is a society of the most talented. Within these walls we usually hide our real names. Everyone uses a code name. My code name is Miracle Worker." Lin Chu wondered and asked, "Then why my code name is Bastard?" Sima Cha said, "I told the president who you are and she gave you that codename because you're the greatest scumbag she's ever heard of." Suddenly the cult president came up to them and said, "I think you are the greatest scumbag in the world. Do you have anything against that?" Sima Cha said, "Lin Chu, this is our president of Strange Love. She comes from a European noble family that values morals and etiquette. Please don't feel bad for her. We hope that we can make full use of your abilities. We will obviously have to seduce girls in the future." Lin Chu wondered, "Then why is she a strange love? Is it because of her deep affection for everyone?" She was furious at him and replied that all her love in her heart belongs only to the goddess. Lin Chu asked who this goddess was. Sima Cha replied that this cult was created around the legendary goddess of peace. She told Lin Chu to follow her, as he needed to bow to the goddess and swear an oath. Only then would he be allowed to join, after which they would teach him. They came to the statue of the goddess and at this point Lin Chu stood in a stupor as she looked incredibly much like that white-haired girl Eva. The girl told him to bow down in front of the statue. Lin Chu said to her, "Will you let me skip this veneration if I say that this woman is my lover from my past life?" The girl didn't believe him and told him to shut up. But Lin Chu said he wasn't lying, and Eva herself said they were lovers from a past life. But the girl was very angry at him and activated her spiritual energy. She told him to stop talking nonsense because he had never seen her. But at that moment Sima Cha stopped her and said, "Please President, stop, this must be a misunderstanding." The president exclaimed, "If you keep desecrating the honor of the goddess, I'll kill you on the spot." She grabbed Lin Chu by the shirt and said, "This mission she taught me personally. 2 years ago my family married me off to a fat man she didn't even know. 2 years ago when they met for the first time before the wedding, he told her to do unacceptable things. He told her to take her clothes off so he could see what he wanted to see on her. And she had no other choice. She had to take off her robe and show him what she wore for him. He was incredibly happy when he saw what he wanted. He went up to her and was impressed by her no-nonsense attitude, but suddenly someone broke a window in their room and with great speed got in. He was angry with her and asked her who she was and how dare she break the windows in his house. This girl was Eve. She came up to her and said, "Leave this place and tell your family that this man no longer has power over you. This marriage is no longer valid." The man was furious with her and wanted to stop her, but at that moment Eve activated her spiritual aura and attacked him back. She asked Eva who she was and why she was doing this. She replied, "Call me Goddess of Peace. Now your mission is to seek out spiritually competent followers who will become my disciples." Eva appointed her president of the Society of the Gifted, and all who love the goddess are your friends, and all who scold her are your enemies. At this time the president said to Lin Chu, "Now you understand I can't let you join if you denigrate the honor of the goddess. Moreover, the Gifted Society will become your sworn enemy." Lin Chu answered her, "Firstly, I didn't insult her. Secondly, will you apologize if I prove my truth?" The president said if he could prove that he was the lover of the goddess, she is willing to do anything he asks. Lin Chu turned to Sima Cha and asked him to use the memory visualization technique and if he could project like that scene when he was in the hotel with the maid. If I ask you to show me memories in my memory, can you do it? Sima Cha agreed, but on one condition, that Lin Chu cooperate with them. Lin Chu agreed and began to recall his wedding night with the goddess in great detail. The president saw this one and stood in a stupor because it was Eva. She asked Lin Chu who he was. She had many questions. Why does the goddess call him my love and ask him to go to the room with her? Lin Chu exclaimed, convinced. Back to our agreement, I want you to do something for me. He came very close to her and said to her, you called me a scumbag, just if I did something that brings you to that thought, sweetie. But the president refused to believe it and said it was a fake. Someone used a reincarnation technique and pretended to be a goddess. Lin Chu said that he still had memories where she was totally naked practicing steamy cultivation and offered her to look at it. He asked her if she didn't recognize the spiritual energy of her goddess. She became embarrassed and asked, is this really the goddess in your memories? Lin Chu confirmed this and said that goddess Eva was his mistress in a past life, so he would not kneel before her. He offered to continue the initiation, but the president replied, not today, as he is too important a figure and so they need to clarify something about his role in their society. Unexpectedly she said, since you are lovers of the goddess, I will personally see to it that you do not cheat on her. But Lin Chu wasn't happy about it. But she grabbed his face and told him that from now on only the goddess and those loyal to her would be allowed to touch him, and the rest who have contact with him will be killed by her personally. If you can't restrain yourself, I'll let you hug me right now, Lin Chu asked if he could recuse himself. At that moment, Sima Cha was ecstatic, as he had never seen the president so interested in a man. The president pulled his jacket apart and replied, Lin Chu, how can you back out if you haven't even joined in? Just give me some time and I will conduct the dedication ceremony. At this time in the Chen family home, Chen Che turned to his father and said that he had evidence of collusion between Chen Imo and the Jing family. He said that Chen Imo was not qualified enough to control their film industry department. Chen Che said she should marry a rich man and become a housewife. Chen Imo told him how can he be so gullible when the Jing family are their worst enemies. In addition, his evidence was obtained from the Jing family to set her up. In addition, the Jing family needs our family to have quarrels. At this point Chen Che got scared and said, what kind of nonsense are you talking? She took out a tape recorder and said that there is a recording of where Jing Yin confessed to sending spies to all the headquarters of Chen Che companies for 5 years. If we don't check all the Chen family offices soon, we will be in danger in the future. Chen Che said, no way, this Jing Yin actually planned. Is the recording even authentic? Chen Imo said that Lin Chu risked his life for this recording, and while they're talking he's lying in the hospital. Chen Che said Lin Chu probably set it up himself to gain her trust. At this point, the head of the family got tired of listening to this talk and said, naive enough foolish son, praise for Chen Mo's excellent work, we will immediately investigate the case. Chen Imo was very angry and said, now if you don't mind, I need to visit my wounded husband. I hope no one will call him scum from now on, because I won't just leave it to you. At that time Lin Chu went back to the hospital. Ryoko greeted him again. She was happy to see him and offered to continue with his class. But Lin Chu refused, as she would drain him of his vitality at this rate. But Ryoko insisted, saying that 7 or 8 times a night would be enough. Lin Chu was shocked, as he had no spiritual energy left. At that moment, Zhao's maid came to them and was very surprised. She asked what they were doing here. Ryoko said that now Lin Chu has regained his spiritual power and in order for it to become even stronger, they need to exchange more with stronger energy. She asked the maid, do you really want to get close to Lin Chu too? At that moment Zhao remembered the events from the hotel when they were there with Lin Chu. She thought he told Ryoko about it and she hit him. Ryoko stood up to Lin Chu and said, hey, I just suggested we practice together, why are you hitting him? Because thanks to Lin Chu my spiritual power will grow continuously, I won't let someone hurt him as long as he's useful to me. Ryoko looked at Lin Chu and asked, but I am curious about one thing, what happened between you two in the hotel? Unexpectedly, Miss Chingmo appeared and asked, yes, what was there in the hotel? I would like to know, what are you hiding from me? Absolutely everyone was shocked by her appearance. Lin Chu and Xiao didn't know what to answer her. Chengmo asked again what they had in the hotel with Xiao and why he couldn't tell her about it. Lin Chu lied to her and said that it was a personal matter for the Xiao family and he was uncomfortable talking about it. Chengmo surprisedly asked what kind of personal business, because Xiao tells everything that's on her mind. But at this point, Xiao replied that she couldn't talk about it as it was too personal. Chengmo said, never mind, I need to talk to Lin Chu, could you all please come out? At that moment Ryoko tried to say something but Lin Chu didn't understand her and activated the lip reading ability. Ryoko said, please hurry up, I want to continue our class. Everyone left the room. Chengmo said he explained the whole situation to her father. He thanked him for risking his life and getting important information. She said that no one else would be allowed to look down on him and she hoped that he would join them in the fight against the Jing family. But suddenly Lin Chu refused to take part in the fight against the Jing family. Chengmo wondered, but why? Lin Chu said that he feared for his life. After all, he only wanted Jing Yin to tell the truth, but Lin Chu couldn't think of anyone wanting to kill him. After all, it's too risky for him to get involved in a war between two major families. Chengmo told him that he wouldn't be left without a reward. She gave him her bank card with 50 million won on it. But he couldn't take her bank card, and told her, in your eyes am I a child to be bribed? Chengmo asked him, what did he want? Lin Chu exclaimed, I want you to stop bossing me around. As soon as I got into the Chen family, all Feed Xiao didn't even consider me as a person, and now you need me, and you are trying to recruit me with money? Chengmo surprisedly replied, of course not, Lin Chu, we are married and I always looked up to you as a spouse. Lin Chu told her, you're the one who dumped housework on me, you're the one who doesn't sleep in the same room with me, your spiritual strength is much higher than mine, can I be called your spouse? Chengmo cried and asked him to forgive her for what she had done in the past. She told him that she would look for a way to make it up to him until he forgave her. A few days later, in the film department, Chengmo discussed matters with actress Cheng. She was about to leave. Unexpectedly Chengmo asked her to stay. She said she had a personal question. Chengmo asked, suppose you were misled by slandering your boyfriend, after which you would make fun of him and it ended up that he was innocent. How would you make it up to your boyfriend? Cheng replied, just offer him your body, it's definitely a win-win. Chengmo got embarrassed and said, sure, but maybe there are other options. I want to let him know that I feel really lousy after the way I treated him. Cheng asked Chengmo, did you really hurt his pride? Yes, and to humiliate him, I made him a housewife. Cheng said that she should set aside her identity as Chengmo, the eldest daughter of the Chen family from that day on. In the evening, Lin Chu came out of the shower and saw Xiao on his bed and asked, Xiao, what are you doing here? But at that moment Chengmo turned to him and said, my dear Lin Chu, you finally came. Lin Chu was greatly surprised and stood in a stupor. At this moment his spiritual energy was activated. Chengmo got out of bed saying that today she belongs only to him. Lin Chu asked her why she dressed as Xiao. Chengmo replied to him not to pay attention to that, and now her name is not Chengmo, but Momo. She explained to him that she wanted to apologize to him using different images. He asked her to help him relieve his stress and give him a shoulder massage. Chengmo put her hands on his shoulders and suddenly he took her hands and put her on her back. He told her, Momo, I have a new task for you. The next day, Chun-Li was sitting in his container, because after he hacked into Jing Yin's phone, he couldn't find his spy's contacts there. He wondered, then, how they kept in touch with him. Suddenly Ryoko came up to them and hugged him. She suggested he start practicing right now, and she was ready to reach the peak of the soul birth stage. Lin Chu replied that it was no problem and promised to do everything, but he asked her if she could do his favor. Ryoko asked, "What favor?" He asked, "If you have any guys from Tokyo at your disposal, I need help, could you get them to Longchen?" She replied, "As long as he helps her cultivate, it's not a problem." Lin Chu said, "Great, every time you bring one, we'll have a whole day dedicated to practice." At this moment, Xiao came to him and said that his book has become incredibly popular and is at the top of sales. All the people and experts think who is Mr. Wei. Lin Chu was glad, because now he could use Mr. Wei's name to put together press conferences and make an address to the media. Suddenly an old acquaintance of his came to Lin Chu and asked, "Mr. Wei, why did you call me?" Lin Chu gave him a task. He told him to take this money and open a store, but it is important that his actions are based on the contents of the book, follow it without any unnecessary. Lin Chu loudly announced that the operation of the fall of the Jing family had officially begun, and within 3 months, he promised to defeat the Jing family and force them to leave this city in disgrace. After a while, Xiao met with her brother Zui. He said he was in trouble, but she told him that she had recently sent him 200,000 yuan. But Zui said that with his debts, 2 million yuan wouldn't be enough. She was very angry with him, because he didn't learn from his own mistakes and it was always the same. But her brother told her that this time his creditor had promised to write off all his debts if he would do him one small favor. Xiao thought, what other small favor, and who is his creditor? Suddenly Jing Yin came up to her and said he was the creditor. But Xiao told him that they had nothing to talk about, but at that moment her brother was grabbed by people, and Jing Yin said that Xiao could leave if she wasn't worried about her brother's life. Xiao didn't know what to answer him, but she couldn't leave either. She had to sit down and listen to Jing Yin. He asked Xiao, where did Lin Chu suddenly have a huge spiritual energy? She replied, but Lin Chu is an ordinary person without a cultivation base, how could he release spiritual energy? But she actually knew about it, but she couldn't tell Lin Chu's recovery. Jing Yin told her to add this pill to Lin Chu's food, but she stood up and said she wouldn't do it. Jing Yin grabbed her brother and said if she kept talking to him like that, her brother would end up in a wheelchair. She took the pill and asked what kind of poison it was and how would Jing Yin know that it had affected Lin Chu. He said it was a lethal dose and he would unknowingly find out. A few days later, Xiao walked into Lin Chu and Chen Mo's room. She warned Chen Mo that she wouldn't be at work for a few days, due to family reasons, and Chen Mo gave her permission not to come to work for a few days. But Lin Chu sensed something wrong and kept an eye on Xiao. She was sitting in her room and picked up poison. She thought, if anyone is going to die, it's me. But suddenly Lin Chu took the pill from her and asked what is it? Lin Chu activated the poison expert's ability and ate the pill. Xiao was in a stupor, because it was a deadly poison. At this moment Lin Chu activated the ability of an Oscar winner. He knelt down and was in a stupor. He asked what it was, for the strength was leaving his body. She hugged him and exclaimed, "Why are you so reckless? Wake up, please don't die." In the evening at the residence of the Jing family came an assistant. She turned to the head of the Jing family and said, according to the latest news from the Chen house, from the son-in-law Lin Chu passed away, they had declared mourning. Jing Yin was happy about this, for his plan to kill Lin Chu had worked. 3 days later, guests came to say goodbye to Lin Chu. Jing Yin came to the coffin and pretended to be sorry and said, "Why does God take the best of us?" Suddenly from the coffin, Lin Chu said, "Jing Yin, if you are so reluctant to part with me, why don't you keep me company in the other world?" Jing Yin was shocked. He wondered if his corpse came back to life. How is that possible? As it turned out, 3 days ago Lin Chu didn't die. He opened his eyes and told her, "I wish you would take better care of me from now on." Xiao was happy and asked him how he was alive. After all, he had taken a deadly poison. He told her that with his powers such things were all right for him. He noticed that Xiao was very depressed and he wanted to cheer her up. Xiao told him not to make jokes like that from now on, because she thought he was dead. Lin Chu asked her, "I was so in your heart that you were willing to sacrifice your life for me. And seriously, but why were you willing to accept it? What happened?" Xiao told him that Jing Yin forced her to poison Lin Chu, otherwise he would have beaten her brother, and she didn't want her brother or Lin Chu to die. Lin Chu came up to her and said, "Do you think he would have let your brother go, fail the mission? We'll swat him like a fly and he won't blink an eye." Xiao asked what they were going to do, since she had no options. Lin Chu suggested that Jing Yin wouldn't let Zhao's brother go until he heard about his death, so Lin Chu would have to die. Xiao asked what was he talking about. He said it would be a fictitious measurement like the last time. To save her brother, they must spread rumors of Lin Chu's death and declare mourning. She asked him, would the Lord and Lady agree to this? Lin Chu said, "Don't worry, I'll tell them everything." At this moment, Xiao wondered why Lin Chu was so caring and unselfish. She hugged him thanking him for everything. Lin Chu explained everything to the head of the family, and he asked Lin Chu, "Is it worth faking death just for the sake of the maid?" Lin Chu activated the strategist's memory and said that he was not only doing it for Xiao, but also to track down Jing Yin's accomplices. Besides, he knew that Chen Mo was showing him the tape. Jing Yin was spreading spies and the usual methods would not stop him. The head asked Lin Chu, "What are you up to?" He replied that he wanted to root them out. "However, the vigilant Jing Yin we can only take where he will be without his guards. At my funeral, they consider me his most dangerous enemy. He will definitely be at my funeral." The head of the family asked, "Are you suggesting we ambush him and then capture and pry the names of all the spies from him?" "Exactly, with 4 of the Chen family's guards, it won't be a problem to pinch one Jing Yin." Father replied, "I think 1 cm cha is enough. Chen Mo, what do you think about it yourself?" "I agree with Lin Chu, it can have a favorable effect on our family, can't it?" Father promised to help him all the necessities. Suddenly the elder told him that the core Hugen Dan this guy has been miraculously restored. The head of the family was glad, because in addition, Lin Chu and Cheng Mo had become close. "Everything is back to normal. No, it is even better than it was. Go get ready, our plan can still be successful." The next day, Brother Zoe came up to Xiao and asked to borrow 200,000 yuan and he promised to pay it back. Lin Chu was as Mr. Wei and asked her why she had brought her brother here. She told him that as soon as Jing Yin heard about your death, he immediately let him go. Now he's taking a chance by asking me for more money to get even. Zoe grudgingly asked, "Hey, who else are you? Are you close to your sister?" Xiao told him to shut up as Mr. Wei, who saved him from Jing Yin, is sitting in front of him. Zoe was incredibly happy, since thanks to him he is now alive. He told him could he call him brother. But Lin Chu was very unhappy with his behavior and told him to shut up. He realized that Zoe was addicted to gambling, and that he could not solve the problem by himself, and Zoe was very similar to the gambler from his memory. You can make 9 bets and win, but 1 big loss can lead to death. Suddenly Zoe pushed his sister Xiao away and told her not to disturb him. Lin Chu managed to catch her and said, "Zoe is drowning in the swamp of gambling. I can help him get rid of his gambling addiction, but my method will be a little harsh." Xiao said as long as his life is not in danger, you can do whatever you want with him. Lin Chu said, "Zuyu, okay little brother, I'll lend you money, but you'll have to take a test to show your resolve." Zoe said as long as there's money at stake, he'll do anything. After a while, Lin Chu brought Zoe to the Chen family's private cinema. Lin Chu made him conditions. If he could watch movies for 24 hours straight, then Zoe would pass the test. Zoe said it would be too easy for him. Suddenly Lin Chu brought him an iron chair and arm and leg mounts. He said that Zoe would have to sit in this chair. He asked, "Is it safe?" Lin Chu said it's safe, but it won't be comfortable. Zue sat on the chair and at the same moment his arms, legs and head were secured. Lin Chu said, Xiao, I invented this chair to torture him out of idleness, however it is quite versatile, it will help us keep his eyes open all day long. At this point, a movie was starting to be shown in which bandits extorted money from their debtors, they threatened their debtors. At this point, Zue was in complete shock and asked to turn off these films, and said he didn't need the money. Xiao asked what movie he had put him in. Lin Chu said it was a darknet documentary created specifically to intimidate debtors. He took her out of the theater and told her it was much better than getting caught by such people in real life. Lin Chu and Xiao came to the warehouse and he thanked him for his help. She asked how she could thank him. He looked at her and said, the last time Chen Amo wore a maid costume to give me pleasure, why don't you change your outfit too? Xiao asked confusedly, hey, what are you talking about? Suddenly Ryoko said, I'm ready to take off my clothes right now. I already called an assistant from Tokyo, now it's your turn to fulfill your promise. Xiao asked, couples cultivation in the nude? What are you going to do? Ryoko replied, don't you know what to do with Lin Chu's spiritual energy? I'm not greedy, good things should be shared, with you the effect of practice will be even higher. Xiao asked, are you talking about increasing spirituality? But how? Ryoko activated her spiritual energy and exclaimed, it's a paired cultivation, although no, even triple.